welcome to Ice Age. It seems that we have some technical difficulties right now. Yeah, looks like it's still going on, and now it's there. Perfect. All right, so we almost have a full crew for you. I'm Dan Valentino.
I'm Catherine McVeigh.
And I'm Darcy.
And Chris is not here because he's studying once again. But tonight, it's still preseason, so there's really not a lot going on. Besides some previews of some teams, I guess let's get started with the Ottawa Senators, who were not that great last year. They missed out on the playoffs like the rest of the Canadian teams, and it just wasn't good at all. And I don't know why I was looking at the wrong camera. I completely forgot which camera I was on. Sorry about that. But yeah, no, they were bad, and they made one big off-season acquisition, and that was trading for Derek Brassard of the New York Rangers, giving up a much younger Mika Zibanejad. So how do both of you feel about Ottawa this upcoming year?
I don't know, we got to say, because they definitely didn't have a strong season at all last year. So I think that this year they're hoping to bring in Derek Brassard to see how he gels with the team. You know, he's a great player. I think he did great things for the Rangers. But I think also giving up the young, fresher skater, I don't know, we could see how that works, because I think that might also be a strong move for the Rangers. So, I don't know.
I agree. I think acquiring Brassard was a good move because they needed to make a change, and this is definitely a change in pace compared to Zibanejad. But again, I don't think that one player can make that big of an impact. I think you need, if you're going to change the mentality of the team, you need to have a few players with that mentality.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that, but I think this was a terrible trade for Ottawa. They gave up a much younger, bigger, and physical player in Zibanejad for Derek Brassard, who he can score, but Zibanejad can score just as much as he can.
Yeah, and he's younger. I think that's the biggest thing.
The stats prove it. Plus, the Rangers also got a second-round pick out of this trade,
Yeah.
which is very surprising because the Rangers always give up a first-round pick.
Especially giving up youth, then also giving up a draft pick is, again, giving up more youth. So
exactly.
I agree. It's not really a good trade on Ottawa's side.
Yeah,
and youth builds teams. I feel like, you know, the best way to make your team better is to bring in new, fresh players sometimes. So, and especially after the season they had last year, I don't understand why you would be willing to give up so much youth.
Yeah, no, their team's pretty much exactly the same as last year. They still have Chris Neal. They have J.G. Pajot, Jay McClement's in Carolina. Clark MacArthur, that's who I'm thinking of. They were both in Toronto at one point. But yeah, the team is pretty much the same. I mean, Mike Hoffman's good, Mark Stone's good, but I mean, Kyle Turris is also good, but they're just not an overall great team. They really do have no defense. Dion Phaneuf hasn't been good since Calgary.
Yeah.
I think they have a bunch of good players that aren't necessarily playing well together. So I don't know if that's more on the coaching staff or if it's on the players themselves. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but look at Edmonton. They've tried to do that with the amount of talent they have, and changing the coaching staff every year does not work.
Yeah, sometimes you have to suffer through a bad season or two to finally get the right gel for a team to build. So
I think Edmonton's issue is having too many of the same type of player.
Yeah.
And I think Ottawa did have that bad season, the wake-up call season, and I don't think they made enough of a change to get out of that.
Yeah, they definitely did not. Their goalie situation isn't great. They have,
but also, Ottawa hasn't been terrible in the past few years. You know, I think last season was one of their worst seasons.
Yeah, no, it was really bad.
As of recently. But if you look back to the Stanley Cup playoffs,
they've always been in the
They've been
first round.
Competitors. You know, they've definitely been in it.
But they haven't improved their team enough to get beyond the first and second round.
I think they're definitely regressing instead of.
Oh yeah.
I think they've been a team that you want to match up against in the playoffs because you know it'll be an easy round.
Yeah.
But they have been there, but again, they're sort of like the pushover team.
Yeah.
And I think they need to. Last season was just terrible, and if they want to do anything, they need to do some more.
Oh yeah, they were bringing up players like Ryan Zingle and Max McCormick, and McCormick's like a future goon who's probably not going to have a future in the NHL. So again, they don't really have a great prospect pool down there either. They traded away Shane Prince last year to the Islanders, given he wasn't doing anything for them anyways. So, I mean, Ottawa's just becoming a barren black hole, just like most of the Canadian market is, which is a shame to say, especially because Canada bleeds hockey. So it's just weird to see all the Canadian teams not doing well. That's a big issue there. And speaking of Canadian teams, the Maple Leafs, they lost out on Jimmy Vesey, which everyone expected him to go there because of his father. But he decided to sign in New York with the Rangers. And then they brought in Matt Martin for some reason,
Right.
overpaid him. All he's good for is like 200 penalty minutes a year.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, do
thought
you think the issue is with the Canadian teams is that that's just not where the money is?
Oh, I think the economy definitely has
I
a play in
definitely
it.
think that, looking at all the different teams and looking where the big names are signing, I think it actually has to do a lot with more money than anything else. People are going where they're getting the biggest signing bonus.
Well,
and
that's why you see guys going down to Tampa and
Yeah.
Florida
right.
because no taxes, so they get more money there.
I think the Matt Martin signing was odd to
Very
do
odd.
that much for a fourth line player. In their
Exactly.
projected lineup, he's going to be on the fourth line.
Yep. I mean, the Islanders did the same thing with Casey Cizikas.
Yeah, I mean, you can really find a role player for a cheaper price.
They're easily replaceable.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And Toronto's a very young team. They have a lot of good future players,
Right.
but they cannot work as a team. They got to move on from Nazem Kadri. I'm sorry, he's a good player, but
Yeah.
he's not going to fit in with the team in the future. They have Austin Matthews, who's going to take the number one center
Yeah.
job from
And
him.
they have William Nylander.
Yep, William
well.
Nylander. I can't even remember who else they have right now. They have so many good young players.
Mhm.
I mean, they did obviously overpaid for Bozak, who they're trying to shop. Morgan Riley on the blue line for them is fantastic. Jake Gardner. But beyond that, there's really no one.
Yeah, there's no defensive depth. And with young forwards, you need experienced forwards as well. And Matt Martin is experienced, but again, he's a role player. So you need sort of a veteran winger who still has it to lead these young
Yeah, I
players.
believe they signed Troy Brower.
Oh, okay. Then
I
that's
can't remember exactly, but
But once again,
they do have one of those veteran
one
forwards that's
player
taken.
isn't
Yeah.
going to make the
Well,
team.
yeah, no, but he's mentoring some of the younger guys. I remember
Absolutely.
seeing this on social media. Like, he's taking William Nylander and I forget another one of their prospects out around Toronto, took them to
Yeah.
the World Cup of Hockey, and just teaching them the ropes.
I think when
Right.
it comes to defensemen, and I think you need a few defensemen that are older, but then you also need it needs to be
Younger.
balanced.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it
You
definitely
can't have
does.
one teaching everybody, but then you also can't
Right.
have a bunch of older defensemen and no new blood in there.
Yeah.
I definitely think it needs to be balanced between the two of them.
especially
Mhm.
with defensemen, because that's a position that takes a lot of time to
Yeah.
develop.
Yeah, no, definitely. But we're going to take a quick PSA break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Arizona Coyotes.
Hey, you're supposed to recycle these.
Why? It all goes to the same place.
Remember that recycling is important for the environment and that recycling items into their corresponding bins ensures that they will be properly reused and recycled.
I wasn't even thinking.
Welcome back. So, the Arizona Coyotes, actually might be somewhat relevant this year, which is actually saying something for once about them because I honestly can't remember the last time they were somewhat relevant. They've always been one of those teams that's just there.
I think in the 2012 playoffs, they had a decent showing. I believe it was them against the Predators.
Okay, yeah.
But that was
It's-
2012.
It's been a while.
Yes.
I mean, they've obviously improved with their team. They have Tobias Ryder, who they just re-signed to a 2-year, $4.5 million contract. They have Anthony Duclair, Max Domi on the first line.
But I just don't know what it is with this team because even I feel like the players that are on that team, even when they go other places, I just feel like it's a team that, as of recently, they have nothing to offer. You don't hear about them. So I think
Yeah.
that
Well,
this offseason has been good for them because
Yes.
it's exciting and there's hope at least.
I think something with the ownership issue before that could have led to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I remember Mike Smith used to be a big name, and now
was.
he's not anymore. And I mean, they have Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the defensive line. They've had him forever, it seems.
They're not going to trade him away,
Yeah,
even though they
no.
should.
But it was earlier when they had Mike Smith, Keith Yandel,
Yep.
Ekman-Larsson. That was back in like the 2012 time when they were doing good things. But as Yandel left, Smith isn't as good anymore.
Well, Yandel got traded,
Right.
and they picked up Duclair from that. So
Yeah, who did they trade Yandel for?
Duclair, a couple picks, and they got John Moore from the Rangers.
Yes.
And they obviously moved on from John Moore because they
Yeah.
didn't like him. But
Do you think they're not giving their players enough time to gel or?
no, it's just a mess there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do have some good young players, but they had a problem with these old scrappy veterans. They signed like Joe Vitale, Kyle Chipchura, Steve Downey.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it was a huge mess. I know they just brought in Rodham Verbata, Alex Goligoski, and
Luke
Jamie
Shen.
McBain. Yeah, and Luke Shen.
Having Goligoski and Luke Shen on the defense will definitely solidify things. For
Oh
sure.
yeah, I think it's good for them, but I also think this organization should move to balance things out.
Yeah.
Because with a team coming to Las Vegas, I don't think a team in
Yeah.
Arizona is even worth it anymore.
Exactly.
They've tried this since the 90s. So 20 years or so, they've tried to have a team there. And it hasn't worked.
No.
It was a nice project while it lasted, but the biggest name you can really remember from Arizona is Jeremy Roenick or Nikolai Javibulin.
Right.
Those are the two.
Who then moved on to other teams. and
Exactly.
Are known for other teams.
Yeah, no. So Arizona's just, I'd say it's the American version of Edmonton without the success.
I think both teams need to just start picking up new young players and just rebuild.
Edmonton's been in a rebuild for years.
Yeah, but it does take time. That is the one thing
it
of
They've
does.
had
rebuild.
lots of time, though.
They have.
Yeah.
They haven't
They
been
haven't been
relevant
relevant
since, I believe it was 2003
Yeah.
when they went up against Carolina.
And it's sad too because that was a team that was a powerhouse. For a while there, what did they win?
Yeah.
4 cups in a row?
That was the Islanders in
no,
the 80s.
but Edmonton.
Did
like
they?
way back. in
Yeah.
the- yeah.
I don't remember them winning 4 in a row. The
It was-
Islanders were the only team.
Yeah,
They
it was.
did. It wa-
Yeah, there were definitely just groups.
It might have been
of
3 in a row.
I think it was 3 because
consecutive cup
4
wins.
was only
4 was the
the
Islanders, but they were another team that
You know,
had won.
they were
several,
a very successful
yeah.
franchise. Craig McTavish, Gretzky, Messier,
Mm-hmm.
they were fantastic.
Yeah.
But we're not in
You
the
can't bank
70s
on-
or 80s
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're trying to improve. They have number
But
one
look
pick
at
after
teams.
number one
Look
pick.
at teams that were so relevant, like the Islanders. They won the 4 cups in a row, and Edmonton,
Yeah.
who were such powerhouses in the late 80s, 90s, and now they're not. You know, I think
Yeah, no, I
teams
understand.
need that rebuilding,
Yeah.
unless you're like
But
the
again, with the Islanders,
Blackhawks who just keep winning.
their
every year.
GM situation when they had, I can't remember his name. I'm happy I'm not remembering his name. He does broadcast for NBC at times, but he's terrible.
Oh, the Islanders?
Yeah, He was their coach at one point.
Garth Snow?
No, not Garth Snow. He's their current GM. They fired this guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, Mike Milbury.
Oh,
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh my
ruined that
gosh.
franchise for years.
That man.
He
That
ruined their
man.
franchise. So yeah, no, that's why the Islanders have been in
Yes.
such a constant rebuild
Yeah.
state because of him.
Well, not to draw an example to the Penguins, but I'm going to draw an example to the Penguins. They were very dominant. They won cups in 91, 92.
Mhm.
Then after that, they went dead. They were terrible for a while, always getting bottom 5 positions.
Yep.
Then they started rebuilding. They got Fleury, I want to say 2003. They got Malkin 2004, Crosby 2005, Stahl 2006. Similar to when Edmonton got consecutive players like Hall, Eberle, and then Connor McDavid even, like Nugent Hopkins. Like,
Yeah.
how many more do you need in consecutive years? And
But
still,
the thing is with like a
Yakupov.
rebuild is it does take time, but like
Right.
how much time are you willing to give a team? You know, they
Exactly.
haven't been
Yeah.
relevant in years.
Right.
So is it
That's
time to rebuild the rebuild?
They need
Yeah.
to.
You know?
They really need to. I'd say keep McDavid and Draisaitl. Everyone else on the team is up for grabs.
Yeah.
it took the Penguins, even in Sidney Crosby's first year, they were still not good at all.
Yeah,
No.
It
because
took them
like
about
we keep
2 to
saying,
3 years.
the player
It's
doesn't
taken
make
Edmonton
the team.
like right.
Yeah, Edmonton
exactly.
should have
Yeah.
been good by now.
Yeah,
That's
by
the thing.
now they should have won
Because in
Absolutely.
all
a
of
cup.
the NHL, EA Sports NHL
Yeah.
games, their Sims, Edmonton is always a good
Has
team.
great
They're always in the
players.
playoffs.
Yeah.
But that doesn't translate into real life
Yes.
because you have these great players, they just can't play together.
I think, like you mentioned before, though, that it has a lot to do with the coaching.
Yeah.
That, you know, if you keep changing it, then I think
Mhm.
that's the one thing that the Rangers have been doing as of recently. They don't just give up. If it's not working right away, they let it gel for a little while, and eventually it's been better.
Yeah, I mean, well, early 2000s, the Rangers were.
Yeah, but I'm talking
that
about
was
as of the past
well, I
few
know,
years.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying, like, they were at that point too,
Yeah.
where it was just a barren wasteland.
Oh, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Go back to 2004, 2000.
Yeah,
you
that's
could,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
You could-
Those years were
Tickets
terrible.
to the Ranger games were like nothing.
Yep, same with the Penguins.
Yeah.
You know, that was very surprising.
But both teams, as of lately, have been competitors.
Those were years when the Hurricanes and the Devils were winning Stanley
Yep,
Cups.
yep. Oh, the
Mhm.
Devils. They were
Devils,
making it every year.
They've still got a
Oh.
few more years to go before they're relevant again, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, Devontae Smith-Pelly was a nice addition, but he's going to be more of a fourth liner.
Yeah.
They somehow got Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. I don't even know how they did that. That just baffles
Lou
me.
Lamoriello? Is he there?
He's
Their
Toronto
GM.
now. Ray
Right.
Shero is
Oh, right.
New
I
Jersey.
should know. Yeah, Ray Shero.
You know, that trade just baffled, I think, everyone.
Oh, they got Bo Bennett now.
Yeah, they signed
Bo Bennett really needed a change of scenery. He just kept getting hurt every time he'd come back. He'd get hurt, and he could never find his
Yeah.
could never gel. So hopefully, this will be the place for him.
We will see. But that's it for this week's edition of Ice Age. We will not be back next week because of fall break. We will be back the week after. So have a great fall break, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm Dan Valentino.
I'm Catherine McVeigh.
And I'm M. Darcy.
See you guys next time.